Pop-O-Holics, show about hot takes hotter than hot tasty pancakes. I'm your host, Christian Katie, and I'm joined as always by my two best friends,
Chris Conkling
and Silent Brian. I'm already
Silent Brian. The NyQuil is taking effect.
It's taking its hold of me.
As the episode progresses, loyal listeners and viewers are sure to be in for a treat. Brian's feeling a little under the weather, and he just informed us that he took NyQuil about 20 minutes ago.
Chris,
so we're on a timeline.
Doctor-patient confidentiality that is being broken here, and I really don't appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Brian.
It's a HIPAA violation.
I just want to make sure that our listeners and viewers know that if you start to doze off or start to slur, it's only because of the NyQuil.
Any
nothing
tweets
else
that happened during this episode, I cannot be held accountable for.
See,
Brian, put your phone down.
So what is this show? Well, it's the show that you know that's all about hot takes. And we talk about all things pop culture. This is a weekly uploads. Come out on Monday-ish. I don't know. I don't even remember when the video versus the thing. Chris takes care of the logistics. I'm just the talent. And, Wednesdays we got our main topic. Our main topic has changed because we are entering May. And we are doing Nicolas Mage month in honor of the release of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And that review is going to be on Wednesday, and we're doing a Nick Cage deep dive. I think on the Twitter we'll throw up all the Nick Cage movies. We're throwing in some of our favorites, some touchstones to talk about, which is going to be very exciting. But this is the weekly upload. What do we talk about? Brian delivers the news. We talk about what we've been consuming in the world of pop culture, and then we do some community feedback. So let's jump into it. Delay no further with Brian's Wacky News.
Before Brian's Wacky News Corner.
You have a correction.
I have a correction to make.
A mistake you made.
I made the mistake. I always take responsibility for the mistakes that I make here on the show. We haven't done a correction segment in a long time. Last week on the show, I said that Oscar Isaac was half Egyptian and half Guatemalan. And in fact, I didn't think I was right about the Egyptian thing after the show, so I went and did some research. He is half Cuban and half Guatemalan. So I apologize to Oscar Isaac if he's listening to the show.
He's very offended.
I apologize to all fans of Oscar Isaac. I was mistaken, and now we have made that correction.
Thank God. I don't know what would have happened if we didn't. But yes, I had no idea.
Riots in the street.
As you said it, I was like, I've listened to a couple interviews with Oscar Isaac talking about this on the project. They mentioned everybody who was Egyptian who worked on it, and he didn't go, oh, by the way, I'm also Egyptian. So when you said it, I was like, that can't be right. I knew he was Guatemalan. Yeah. Sometimes we make stuff up. Hey,
we're got the Cuban portion wrong. I had the opposite effect because I've heard so many people talk about working on the show as well, all saying that they're Egyptian. So my brain automatically went, I think he's half Egyptian, but I was wrong.
Right. Well, Chris,
Christian loves reveling in my incorrectness.
No, I don't. I want the show to be as accurate as possible. Anyway, I heard a rumor about Chris Pratt, but we don't have time for that. Let's go into Brian's Wacky News Corner.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wacky News Corner here. Okay, this is not exactly the most unexpected news, but we all saw Matt Reeves, The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson.
No.
We did. We saw it. We covered
it.
At some point in the galaxy far, far away.
Keep going, Brian. Keep going.
This is the Nirvana cover that's happening here. It's just been announced at CinemaCon that just ended today as of recording. It was April 26th through 28th. Bunch of stuff that I would like to talk about, but feels a little bit spoilery because there's a lot of footage shown and things revealed that maybe I didn't even actually want to know about, but something that I can talk about. Warner Brothers in DC has announced that The Batman has officially greenlit a sequel and that Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson will both be back along with most of the crew. I'm not sure we've gotten other confirmations in terms of casting, but I got to imagine that the main characters will all be coming back for this. There was a spinoff that was announced prior to this, a Penguin spinoff with Colin Farrell's character playing the Penguin that I think we're largely looking forward to. Colin Farrell was kind of a standout in the Batman, which I wasn't expecting going into it. So that was really, really exciting to see. But this movie did well. It's made almost $760 million at this point. Definitely a box office smash. So it was kind of inevitable that this was going to get a sequel. But the fact that it's locked in and that Matt Reeves is going to be able to come back and continue this saga that he's creating is really exciting. And he's clearly shown himself to be able to handle sequels and trilogies in the past with the Planet of the Apes, the most modern rendition of that. So as I said, we've talked about how this was kind of definitely going to happen with how good the movie was doing. But Chris, how are you feeling about the news that we are definitely getting a sequel to The Batman?
You know, Brian, I just got a really interesting tweet. WB Discovery just tweeted out that they're announcing that water is also wet. I don't know if you were aware of this.
Very nice.
But
Monica, I think I lost it somewhere around here.
No, like you said, this is totally unsurprising. I honestly just think they're probably waiting for the merger to kind of like solidify and come down, because it's only been effective for like the last 2-3 weeks, if that's, and the Batman came out like a month ago. So yeah, based on the success of the Batman, how the critics received it, how the fans received it, I was absolutely expecting a sequel. This is really just good news. So I really enjoyed the movie. I think most of us here enjoyed the movie. There have been rumors floating around, and Matt Reeves has said in interviews that he would like to tackle Mr. Freeze potentially as like a villain. I don't know if he's going to end up being the villain for the sequel, but I know that Matt Reeves also enjoyed his time working on the film. So no surprise that he, is coming back. And who did I say initially? Did I say Matt Reeves initially, or did I say something else?
I think you said Matt Reeves.
Okay, Chris Pratt.
That's right. Yeah, it's completely uncontroversial.
Chris Pratt really enjoyed his time directing The Batman.
Luckily, we just started this Wednesday. Nick Cage month. Nicolas Cage kicks off. We know he's interested in playing a Batman villain.
Egghead.
I know he didn't mention Mr. Freeze, but I would be 100% down for a Nicolas Cage rendition of Mr. Freeze.
That would be cool. That'd be a really interesting. Oh my God. We'll talk about the unbearable weight of massive talent, but oh man, that would be out of this world. But yeah, I'm excited. This is unsurprising. Christian, how do you feel about it? I'm excited, dude.
Well put.
I'm excited, dude. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited.
Of course, this is cool. That movie was so much fun. I rewatched it. I was even a little colder. I'm very excited still. I'm getting the Blu-ray and the 4K. I'm excited to see it in that. Part of that was my disappointment because I was like, these blacks are not inky enough.
Wait a second. How are you watching those Blu-rays that you're getting?
My PS5. Oh, on my new OLED TV.
There it was.
Yes.
It was a layup.
It was a layup. Well, I thought I already said that. Listeners may know I got a new C1 OLED.
Christian, after one of us buys an OLED television, we're obligated to mention it in every episode for the next 3 months. I did it. Now it's your turn to do it. When Brian does it, he'll do the same. That's just how we roll here.
Yeah, a side tangent about like streaming services and compression. Like, I don't even know. It's not even clear if you have HBO Max on your PS5 app, if that will stream in 4K. I know they do 4K streaming on certain devices. I don't think PS5 is one of them. Maybe they're adding to it. It seemed fine, but I was missing that a little bit. I watched it in like 5 chunks. I will say, not being stuck in the theater experience was great, and I won't trade it for the world. But it is not. That movie was wonderful to just be like, and I'm going to come back to you later.
It's a long movie.
It is very long, and part of me thinks in the sequel, Robert Pattinson's gonna be like, "I bought a phone. Would have been real useful the last time. If I could have found this guy online.
Twitter.
Check Twitter. Maybe Batman buys Batman Twitter or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I was thinking, like, is he just gonna start owning a telecom company?
That'd be incredible. So a lot of cool stuff. I hope they go in even more interesting directions. And it'll be cool to see the development of Bruce Wayne as a character because they started him out a very interesting place in this one. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Like we said, we're all hot on that film. So yeah, not surprising and very exciting.
Yeah. So DC and Warner Brothers has greenlit a sequel to The Batman with director Matt Reeves as well as star Robert Pattinson set to return. Obviously, production hasn't started on this. I'm sure it'll be 2 or 3 years before this thing sees screens, but definitely exciting news. Some news that's a bit more of a bummer now. Justin Lin, who was set to direct both Fast X, the 10th movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise, and the sequel, Part 2, has stepped down after less than 2 weeks of production into the first of these two movies. So the first movie he was involved with was Tokyo Drift. He did Fast 5. He's done 5 of the 9 of these Fast and the Furious movies. Fast 5 is definitely one of the most critically acclaimed and has some of the best stunts of the entire run for sure.
Also, our conversation of Fast 5 is the most viewed video we have on this channel.
Honestly, it's holding us afloat entirely. Yes. So thank you for those of you who've checked that
title
out.
card in our podcast. So
That's really
audio version. Yes, indeed. There was
Please subscribe to
April 22nd. Please, dear God, please just like and subscribe. We're stagnating heavy right now. Welcome to Behind the Pod.
it's all about growth. We need growth.
Whining guys.
See,
No,
this is
we
the kind of
appreciate
attitude
everyone.
that made Justin Lin leave the Fast project. Was Vin Diesel probably wanted to change a car stunt like right before they were going to shoot it. And they're like, we already prepped. There's hundreds of man hours that went. You know what? I'm over this shit. I'm the only reason your series is good. I'm out.
We do know that at some point early on, the first draft of this script, which was co-written by Justin Lin, Mia Toretto's character was left out, and Vin Diesel stepped in and righted that perceived wrong. So it seems like he's got a clear idea of what he wants. On the 22nd, he put out a video on Instagram, I believe, that was about 20 seconds long, that has just been roasted all over Twitter. And this is where I saw it at this point, where he's trying to get Justin Lin to be excited about this movie. And he clearly just does not want to do whatever Vin is expecting of him here. And 4 days after that, he's stepped down from the project. He is going to continue on in a production capacity, so he's not going to be totally separated. But now at this point, this is costing the studio apparently up to $1 million, between $600,000 and $1 million per day, that this sort of production is stopped without a director. I guess he may have given some prior notice. It sounds like they may have had a little time to get things rolling, because they did put out an official press release about him leaving, and it seems to be amicable. But it's a bit of a bummer. I know not all of us thought super highly of Fast 9, but I had a great time with it. And obviously Fast 5 is one of the best of the franchise. It's a bit of a shame. We'll see what happens in terms of bringing in other directors that have previously directed Fast and the Furious movies. I know some are non-options because of scheduling. Other are probably non-options because of allegations that have been brought against them.
Right.
A lot of people have talked about Vin Diesel potentially trying to step up here. He
has directed before.
He has directed. I think there was a movie in 1997. Spielberg thought back in the 90s that Vin Diesel was kind of going to be one of the next big voices in Hollywood, apparently. It's a really interesting story about him having worked with Spielberg on Saving Private Ryan, I believe. So I'd be interested to see a Fast movie directed by Vin Diesel. It seems like he's very much one of the main creative driving forces behind this, no pun intended, behind this franchise. But it could probably, hopefully, be a good thing to just have him behind the camera and directing himself and the cast that is obviously the family, as we know. How do you guys feel about Justin Lin, the Fast franchise, and him stepping down after only 2 weeks of production here?
Christian, would you like to go first, or would you like for me to bring down the mood here first?
Well, you're gonna bring down the mood anyway, but yeah, I'll just go. So I think that it's going to be very hard for the studio to give Vin Diesel, who's only directed very little stuff, hundreds of millions of dollars. I think there's a lot of people angry on the phone being like, this movie production's bleeding money too fast, too furious. It's better than the water is wet comment, let's be honest. And I'm curious to know what broke Justin Lin specifically. But yeah, it means it's in a rocky place, but it makes
I think just being in Vin Diesel's presence, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read so
Ouch.
much into that Instagram. I mean, it looked like he didn't want to do it, but also, I don't know. People are saying it looks like he's held hostage. I mean, Justin Lin's a grown ass man. If he doesn't want to do a project, he can, he had months of prep.
No, that was clearly
He's worked
a joke.
with them
Yeah.
I know. But I didn't read that much into this. This is the world we live in now, where everything's got to be something, and it could be totally unrelated. It could be personal stuff that it has nothing to do with it. So we really don't know. But I imagine it's going to get made. I'm wondering if anybody's called Michael Bay yet, because a Bay Fast and Furious would be pretty interesting.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Totally down.
Suddenly, the robots are cars. I mean, the cars are... Fuck, I fucked that up. All right, anyway. Chris, what do you think about this whole thing? Bring us down.
You guys know me. I didn't take too well to what Vin Diesel did several months ago to The Rock, kind of publicly calling him out and putting him on blast to rejoin the Fast franchise. And I think The Rock handled that interaction very amicably in a public fashion. He basically just said, like, I'm not going to do it, But
hey, bro,
I
have an agent.
Right. During that interaction, like, Vin Diesel using his kids to try and, like, get Dwayne Johnson to come back and, like, guilt him almost into coming back publicly. It's just a really gross way to try and get what you want, and it's, like, incredibly manipulative. And when Brian sent me the video that was on Instagram with Justin Lin and Vin Diesel, and I'm fine saying exactly what I told you guys, which is, like, watching that video. And Christian, you're right. Justin Lin is a grown man. He's 50 years old. Like, he's perfectly capable of leaving a job if he wants to leave a job. But listening to Vin Diesel talk, it sounds like he's incapable of, like, reading the energy of the people that he's interacting with, and he's just so hyped up with himself and with the Fast franchise that, like, he's unwilling to accept anything other than what he wants these final two films to be. In our chat, I described him as obnoxiously positive to a delusional degree, and I think that describes it pretty well. Like, you could tell in that. I mean, any person who's capable of, like, reading human emotion could tell in that moment that Justin Lin was not matching his energy from the first question that he asked during that very short Instagram video. So I don't know. It's just, I don't like what Vin Diesel has done so far in terms of, like, production of this movie, trying to get people to do what he wants to do. Like you said, Brian, bringing the Mia character back into the film when she was initially in the script. Will the studio give him the director position? I absolutely doubt it. Because, like we said, he's only directed one movie before, and this is a huge franchise. This makes the studio a ton of money. If by some miracle they do end up saying, you're the producer, you seem to have, like, a creative vision for this thing, like, we'll give it a shot. We've worked with you for many years. I can only imagine how shitty a Vin Diesel-led Fast and Furious movie would be.
Wow.
Not a lot of people
harsh.
like 9. Like Brian, I was happy to be back in the movie theaters when we saw 9. I think it was a great movie to go back to the theaters for after the pandemic, like pure popcorn spectacle, but they were going to space in 9. And if you look at the original Fast and the Furious movie, which we did, we had a whole Fast month. Like I said, it's some of our highest watched videos on this channel. It's just such a huge departure from where it was originally. And I can only imagine how much of a departure it would become in the hands of its lead. So I don't know. I guess I have kind of like an icky opinion of what Vin's been doing the last couple of months toward everyone involved with this movie. I think he needs to kind of reevaluate himself and like amp up his business acumen, like learn how to work with people more effectively.
Chris,
but
I don't read the energy. I write the energy.
That sounds like something he could say at this point in time. But I'm not involved in any of the conversations. My opinion is completely invalid. I don't know why Justin Lin left Fast 10. So I just hope things get better for that entire film production. And I hope that everybody gets the movie that they want.
I got to say, I do agree that the way he handled the situation with The Rock was not the proper way to handle something like that sort of public guilt tripping. But to his credit, I think the mentality that he has in the Justin Lin video, at least in this confidence that he's always brought, is how he became a movie star, right? From the beginning,
definitely.
He was downplayed. No one ever thought he could drive a franchise. He left after the first Fast and Furious movie because he wasn't getting paid enough. And then he came back and he's a huge part of why the franchise became what it became.
Yeah,
But
this
I
like
definitely understand where you're coming from.
blind confidence, like this make it till you, or break it till you make it.
I think it's
fake it till you make it.
Fake it, and take it.
Fake it till you make it. That's what it is. Fake it till you make it is kind of like maybe the mentality, just like insane blind confidence. And hey, he's a movie star. This dude's a movie star. There's no denying it. He brings people into theaters.
He's certainly in one movie. Like one movie series. He is also Groot. So,
he is Groot.
There's that.
He is Groot.
How bad must
This
he
could
feel?
maybe
He's like, when is
be-
Groot going to grow up again? I got to come in and get paid.
I can
for
tell you
some
when
lines.
Groot's going to grow up again, but I don't want to spoil that here
God.
on this podcast episode.
I think you just did. Thanks, man. Really cool.
Classic.
Really cool.
So yeah, that's Justin Lin has stepped down as director of the 10th Fast and the Furious movie, Fast X, and hopefully they're able to find someone relatively soon so that the cost of these movies, which are already going to be insanely expensive, don't balloon even further. So let's move into some stuff that's coming out this week. When it was announced, probably 6 or 8 months ago at this point, Batman Unburied, we had talked about this new DC and Spotify exclusive podcast. This is coming out finally on Tuesday. So the plot of this show, or the plot of this production, Bruce Wayne works as a forensic pathologist in Gotham Hospital, where he's tasked with examining the victims of the Harvester, a cannibalistic serial killer. So I'm not sure if the Harvester is a previously created character, so it is new. I know from the trailer that there are other villains that are known Batman villains that are going to be involved in this show, where while the Harvester is driving the main plot forward, we are going to get some other Batman characters. This is directed by Alex Kemp and written by Eric Carrasco from Supergirl, as well as Saladin Ahmed and Rebecca Klingel from The Haunting of Hill House, as well as Graham Westerson. We had announced a while back that Winston Duke is playing Batman and Bruce Wayne. So that's super exciting. Winston Duke, consistently great in everything I've seen him in. We have Sam Witwer as the Harvester, Gina Rodriguez as Barbara Gordon, and many more. It has been announced here that this is actually going to be released in a bunch of other countries with separate voice casts. So all this has been in production and is going to be releasing on the same date. We have in Brazil, France, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Mexico. I think it's 8 or 9 countries total that this is going to be coming out in.
And Winston Duke is going to be Batman and Bruce Wayne in all of them.
No, he's not. There are a bunch of other actors here. If you look it up, there's plenty of news out there about all the people playing this. But this is super exciting. They're clearly going all out with this. We have talked about some of the Marvel stuff that has been done previously with the Wolverine podcasts. This show, from the trailer at least, sounds very high production. So I'm super excited to see where this goes, and we'll definitely be talking about this in the coming weeks as episodes begin to come out on Spotify.
Brian, is this show behind a paywall, or do you just have to have a Spotify account to listen to it?
I believe you just have to have a Spotify account to listen to it, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Yeah, I haven't seen anything that says it's behind a paywall, so I think it's available for everyone for free on Spotify. I'm not sure what the release schedule is like either, but I imagine it'll be weekly. Maybe it's delayed if you don't have a paid account. I'll try and look that up for next week and let people know. But that is Batman Unburied that'll be coming to Spotify this Tuesday. Moving into some TV that's coming out this week. On Thursday, we have Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So this is actually a spinoff of Star Trek Discovery, which I've seen probably half of the first season. One of my roommates a few years back was watching it. It's a really great show. From the limited amount that I watched, there was a little bit of debatable political stuff happening with some of the races of characters that irked me a little bit. Maybe within the context of watching the whole show, it would be better, but some really intriguing concepts that were being dived into, as is usually the case with Star Trek. This is created by Akiva Goldsman, Alex Kurtzman, and Jenny Lou Metz, and follows Captain Christopher Pike and the crew of the USS Enterprise. So this is a prequel series, basically. we've talked about it before. I've never done a deep dive into Star Trek. I know, Chris, you kind of got back into it recently with the recent 4K release of the movie. Have either of you guys watched any of Star Trek Discovery, or would you be interested in this sort of show?
So I haven't watched any of Star Trek Discovery, but I did, like I have said in past weeks, I just subscribed to Paramount Plus. So it has been added to my watch list. I'm actually, even though Star Trek Discovery is still technically a prequel to the original series, I'm more interested in Star Trek Strange New Worlds solely because Christopher Pike is the captain of the Enterprise at that point. And for those that are unaware, in the pilot episode of Star Trek, Christopher Pike is the captain. Kirk has yet to take over. So you have characters like Christopher Pike, and Spock is the only other original series character that's in that pilot episode. And of course, Christopher Pike has appeared throughout the Star Trek mythos since then. But yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to check out, probably even before checking out Discovery. I have heard, like all science fiction fandoms, I have heard a divide between how people feel about Discovery and whether, some Star Trek fans absolutely hate it, some Star Trek fans absolutely love it. So I really can't give any type of opinion on it because I haven't seen it yet. But I'll probably watch the first few episodes of Strange New Worlds and get back to you guys.
Yeah, so super exciting. And just to be clear, this is a prequel of Star Trek, the original series.
Correct.
Like you had mentioned, Chris.
Correct.
So yeah, that's Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That is premiering on Paramount Plus this Thursday. Also coming out this Thursday to Netflix, completely out of nowhere, the Pentaverate. So this is something that I stumbled upon the trailer for just a few weeks ago. I hadn't heard of this show at all. No discussion prior to the teaser trailer coming out.
Sorry to interrupt, Brian. I didn't even realize it was a show initially. I thought it was going to be a movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it is a spinoff of a movie. It's the spinoff week this week of So I Married an Axe Murderer from 1993. I don't know how
I didn't know that either.
I've never seen that movie. So I'm not sure if one of the characters from this is in that movie, but this follows a Canadian journalist who tries to uncover the truth about a society of 5 men who have controlled the world since 1347. So Mike Myers, in classic Mike Myers fashion, is playing like 8 characters completely ridiculously, tons of accents, what you expect from Mike Myers, back in his element here. We also have Ken Jeong, Keegan-Michael Key, Debbie Mazar, Richard McCabe, Jennifer Saunders, and Lydia West. It's narrated by Jeremy Irons. I'm not sure how I feel about this show. I think the Austin Powers movies are great. I haven't been a huge fan of the other stuff that Mike Myers has done necessarily, but this show looks like it has potential, and it is limited to 6 episodes, which is always nice. Nice limited run, going to be on Netflix, and the trailer looks like it could be funny. Conceptually, I'm here for it. It's the Pentaverate that'll be on Netflix this Thursday. Are you guys down for a Mike Myers assance?
I have such a complicated relationship with like this SNL cast from the 90s. I am not going to talk about it in quick hits, but I recently watched David Spade's new special. I could actually give my brief opinion of it here because it kind of coincides with how I feel about the Pentaverate coming out. I'm probably going to watch the first few episodes of the Pentaverate just because I have this nostalgia and love for who Mike Myers was, but that doesn't necessarily, I mean, like you, Brian, have enjoyed a lot of the things that he's done since like 2005, same with the David Spade special. Like I watched it almost like out of obligation. And it's this weird thing. I talked about David Spade's memoirs a couple years ago here on the show for Quick Hits. And I absolutely enjoyed that. Loved hearing behind the scenes. But like when it came to his stand-up, it felt kind of like going home, but it also like wasn't great. It's just like more of the same, basically. So yeah, complicated feelings about this. Like I said, I'll probably check out the first episode out of some like weird nostalgic obligation, but we'll see how it is. Christian, do you have any desire to watch the Pentaverate at all?
I'll wait to hear what people say. I mean,
that's a safe.
I'm not
safe
the
position
biggest
to
fan
take.
of Mike. I've never been the biggest fan of Mike Myers. Like I like the first and second Austin Powers. That's about. I'm not a big Wayne's World fan.
The
really?
Bay Hive is going to just obliterate you for this comment, I gotta say.
So, that's where I stand. Are we talking about the serial killer?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's one of the 5 that has been running the world since the 1300s.
Yeah. Big fan of him. It's like murder. Yeah, I'll check.
That is the Pentaverate, the new series created by Mike Myers, coming to Netflix this Thursday. All right. The moment we have been hyping up for what feels like a year at this point, we finally have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming out to theaters this Thursday/Friday. The plot of this movie: Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle. Sam Raimi is directing this one, which, as we've talked about before, is a huge selling point. We all grew up with the original Spider-Man live action trilogy. Obviously, Spider-Man 3 is contentious, but I'll stand by that trilogy. Some really incredible stuff happening there. This is the 28th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's written by Michael Waldron and stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange, along with Benedict Wong and many others. I've spoiled too much prior to talking about this, but if you know with this, there's been a lot of build up to this. There's been 27 movies. There's been six shows that WandaVision is one of the main ones. 4 or 5 shows. There's been a bunch. So
I'd say WandaVision's probably the only main one that you need to watch.
That's the main one that's going to tie.
WandaVision and What If. Those are the 2.
Right,
WandaVision, What If, and potentially Loki.
Maybe.
Definitely Falcon and Winter Soldier.
And then 27 other movies.
And I mean, it's almost over. So Moon Knight too. Yeah, just go ahead and get Moon Knight in there.
Moon Knight.
Just go ahead and watch the whole MCU.
Just watch it all.
Is that with that half Egyptian Oscar Isaac's in it?
Oh boy, I'm never gonna get rid of that.
You betcha.
So yeah, that's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Highly awaited. Presumably is going to do gangbusters, especially with the build up and everything that came before it. There's a lot of anticipation around this movie, a lot of things that have already been revealed. So presumably a lot more to be revealed in this movie that I'm sure Chris has already seen all of. But how are we feeling? I don't have my tickets yet. I'm a little behind. I'm probably going to have to end up sitting in the first row again, which we'll get into on Wednesday. But Chris, I know you're hyped for this movie. When are you seeing this?
My wife and I are going to be seeing it Friday morning.
Okay, nice.
At 11:30 in a theater that typically is not very busy on opening days.
Excellent.
So I'm looking forward to that. I don't want to say much about the movie. We talked about it a ton here on the show in the last couple of years. I will say that I just watched an interview with Sam Raimi. Currently, the cast and Raimi are doing press in Berlin. And it gave me a ton of hope for this movie. Is just going to be a lot of fun. He said it was an absolute pleasure to work with Marvel Studios. And based on his experience with Spider-Man 3, that was just like really positive to hear. He did say that, being a director for Marvel Studios, and shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, you do kind of have to like work within their framework first, and then you can make your own little tweaks and deliver your artistic visual style second. So he said, don't expect it to be like an Evil Dead, which no one should have. But there are a lot
blood in that, and we don't have that.
Right. There are a lot of Raimi-isms, he said, in this movie. So I'm excited for that. The last thing I'll say is I was talking with the C4S Villains crew earlier today, and one of the things I mentioned to them was ages ago, when Kevin Feige first announced that there were going to be MCU shows, one of the promises that he made to the general public was that you wouldn't have to watch the shows to understand what's going on in the movies. And this is really going to be the first movie.
A promise, eh?
Mm-hmm. This is going to be the first movie where we can see if he's capable of delivering on that promise or not. So I'm super intrigued to see what he and what all the creative team have done with this film and whether they're capable of getting the general audience to understand what's happening in this film without having at least seen like WandaVision. You know?
It's going to be fine. We're going to do a previously on for the first half hour of this movie and just recap the whole MCU real quick.
It'll literally just be a line. It's just like, Wanda, you went crazy over grief and took a small town over. How was that? It's fine. Okay, moving on. Yeah, it'll be more tactfully done, but I think they'll be able to catch everybody up. You know,
I definitely think there'll be something like that.
Marvel does it where it's like not essential to understand the plot of the story, but everybody who hasn't seen it will be like, I'm really interested now in watching this other supplemental material that'll make.
I gotta subscribe to Disney Plus as soon as I get home.
And everybody who's watched it goes like, I'm really glad I watched it because you get the full character arc of Wanda from the movies to the show, back to the movies, and it was really better because of it. Anyway. Yeah, I'm excited to see Sam Raimi take a crack at a big studio movie again, get his redemption. I'm sure it's going to be really good, especially since the first Doctor Strange ranks pretty low on my MCU movies. It's like one of the worst ones, in my opinion. Some interesting stuff happening, but I don't love that movie at all. I've revisited it, I think, once for our rewatch that we had. Check out Pop-O-Holics feed for all that. But I think what I'm most excited for is, I don't know if you saw this, but Sam Raimi also said in an interview, God damn it, I can't believe that a studio made me put Venom in another fucking movie.
It's actually, Sony Raimi is directing this one.
Sony Raimi, okay. That's
weird. How did that slip by?
Multiverse. It's multiverse.
Yes, that's right.
You know, I did end up seeing that same interview, Christian, and the weirdest part about the whole thing is that, you know, people have been wanting Tobey Maguire to come back in this movie as well. But in a very weird twist, Sam Raimi went and instead got Topher Grace as Venom.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
just still not listening.
I think Sam Raimi's been dipping into that dark suit. His hair's getting long. I think he let Robert Pattinson borrow it for a few months, but he's got it back. That's it for the news, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. You know what, Chris, Brian? We're going to cut it there for our watchers. So if you want the rest of the Pop-O-Holics weekly upload, please go to our audio feed, subscribe there, and there's some chapter markers so you can skip right to the weekly upload quick hits. I'm going to be talking Control, which is a video game that came out a couple years ago, but I'm going to sing its praises. Can't wait to talk about it. I also saw Red Rocket, and Brian, you saw a couple things as well. Genius? It's the Kanye West doc. Yeah,
Genius. The Kanye West documentary.
You know what's funny is, this is how bad of a host I am. I also saw part of that documentary. I saw like 2 hours of like the first part. And then Scream season 1 on Netflix. So a lot of cool stuff coming that way. But that'll do it for the video watchers for now.